Well, here we are. It's just chatting, because technically no gameplay is going to happen here. Technically speaking. Oh yeah, the little event thing in the bottom right is still active, but you know what? That's fine. Well, yeah, I told you, all the alerts are disabled, so, you know, unless you need to do them now, you can save them for later or something, I don't know. Alright, so, when I switch the scene here, I actually have an hour-long pre-recorded video, so, I'm just gonna be in the chat, so, you know. Yeah, this video ended up a whole lot longer than I thought it would, and took a whole lot longer than I thought it would to produce. So, yes, Game Guy Direct. I mean, if you want to call it anything, it's an LPIA Direct, so, you know, whatever. Well, hopefully everything works, because I've never actually played a video through OBS before, so... It's just, I don't know, let's just do it, whatever. If it's awkward, that's how it goes. Hi, I'm Game Guy. Welcome to Let's Play It Again, XL. Here it is, the big moment. Prologue's over, it's time to get a move on. Before I start, I want to clarify a few things. The purpose of this video is to reveal pretty much the entire lineup of the Let's Play It Again XL series of streams that I'm going to probably be doing for the next several months. This will include 10 LPs that will go alongside the streams, though the order I reveal them in may or may not be the exact order I upload them in, do be aware. This will also include 10 games of my choice entirely, and finally, 10 games that are all-stars as voted on by you, the viewer. With all that said, let's get this party started. And right off the bat, those of you who have been paying attention might have noticed I missed a little something. There's still one big 5 at large. And so, let's rewind that clock one more time to what I consider to be my true introduction to video games as a whole. I'm sure you already know what it is. Released August 13th, 1991... Super Mario World. What can I even say about this game? I kinda skimmed over this one and from the top, but for good reason. While it's very true that my first video games were probably the Mario All-Stars series of games on the NES, it can't be understated how little I played them compared to this. I said I didn't have a lot of memories with the NES, but oh boy, that's Super Nintendo though. This game came out right around the time when I was actually starting to really appreciate what video games had to offer. I still remember some of those days. My first discovery of the Star Road. Countless hours searching for secrets through use of, well, a guidebook, I guess. Man, this thing's seen better days. I even remember being just utterly terrified of Bowser to the point where I don't think I beat this game until several years later. This is just one of those games that solidified my love for Mario. While those other games came before it, and I had more appreciation for them later once the Mario All-Stars collection was released, this game, for all intents and purposes, was my true first video game. And so it's probably no secret that there's a reason it was chosen as my first LP. Super Mario World was always a game I adored. By the time it was 2010, you could say I was good enough at it that it's not really a long game to me anymore. It being on the shorter side of things made it a perfect candidate as a first trial of sorts. I've always said that, as my first LP, it'd be a shame to have to go and redo it. It felt like one of those untouchable things that I should probably just leave as it is. Sure, the quality was bad. I didn't really put a ton of effort into it, let's be real here. It was my first attempt, after all. But I think if there was ever a reason for me to redo it, 10 years later seems like as good a time as any. Next up, how about a collection of games that themselves are also a collection of games? I could be here all day with release dates, so we're just gonna go with the first one. Released November 26th, 2014. The Jackbox Party Pack. The winner of 10th place in the Let's Play It Again All-Stars this time. You know, it's funny, usually we have an after party, but I think this time we're having a pre-party. All of the Jackbox games have always just been a real good time. It's not something I've done a lot, but I have played it a few times locally with, like, family and such. And it's something that just never fails to really be entertaining. As far as filler streams go, Jackbox seems to kind of be the #1 pick most of the time. At least in some form or another. Just to name a few, games like Drawful, Quiplash, Trivia Murder Party, Survive the Internet, Bracketeering, Mad vs. City, and so many more. There has been a lot of fun had throughout the many times I've played any of these games. How about a game that's always been kind of a favorite of mine, in a series that is also kind of one of my favorites? But it's also probably my first online experience at all, taking 9th place in the Let's Play It Again All-Stars. Released November 3rd, 2004. Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal is a game I adore. This game takes mechanics from the second game as far as building up your weapons and just expands upon it in a way that just kind of becomes the series staple from this point forward. As far as the selection of weapons goes, most of them are just fantastic. The first 2 games were great, but I feel like this is just the natural evolution of this particular formula. And most of the characters in this game are such a treat. But I mentioned an online interaction, and this game did actually have online multiplayer. Back when this game was new, I dabbled in this online spectrum quite a bit, actually. I remember a few times where I literally stayed up all night just messing around with some friends I had at the time. Multiplayer in this game wasn't super balanced or anything, but it was neat regardless. It's kind of a shame it's something they've never really tried to do again. At least as of this recording. And I'm not really counting the HD port, because, that's a bit of a mess. I was never very good at it, but I had a good time. This game will always be one of my favorite games in the Ratchet & Clank series. So this next game's gonna be a bit of a thing. But in some weird and bizarre way, I just feel like playing it again. Released November 11th, 2012. Paper Mario stickers. Whoa, put down those pitchforks and torches. Hold on a sec. Let me explain. Listen, I'm well aware of this game's legacy. But if there's one thing I've learned about myself over the years, it's I have a pretty decent knack for making the most of it, let's say. I should be clear, Sticker Star is a game I don't really like that much. There's a lot of issues with it that I just simply can't ignore. But all that aside, the game has a certain charm to it. The game takes that pop-up book aesthetic and just runs with it. I'm not the biggest fan of the dialogue being real in your face about it, but sometimes it's humorous. That's just it. This game does have some notable qualities that are good. They're just often forgotten because of how many things are bad about the game. This is a game that I can have fun with despite its flaws. And I think that's the reason I want to play it again. Back on track with the good stuff, I guess. Let's talk about another future LP. And yet another one I said I would never do. But I'm gonna need some help with this one. Released May 13th, 1996. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is a video game. Despite my apparent hatred of RPGs at the time, this game was just the exception because Mario was in it. It's fairly simple as far as RPG standards go, but you know, as a first RPG, I think it was pretty much perfect. Just a way to get my foot in that door. All that aside, I want to share my more recent history with this game. Back somewhere early 2010, as I was just starting to do LPs, I was searching for ways to get people to notice. Up to this point, my viewership was pretty non-existent. I went around in search of web forums to see if maybe I could find some talking about LPs, and I found a few, some more notable than others. One in particular had the idea of playing through Super Mario RPG one person at a time, each person taking a specific portion of the game, and then everybody just passing off the save file to the next person in line. A group Super Mario RPG LP, if you will. I was certainly intrigued, so I signed up. As a result, I ended up with that second segment where, you go from Mushroom Kingdom and through the forest to get that second star. And, that's pretty much where the LP came to a halt. Right after my segment. I always felt it was kind of a shame that this never really got completed, so I wanted to take a stab at it in my own way. I think it's something to look forward to. Now, here's a fun addition to the lineup. I've gone on record stating that I find it really difficult to pinpoint a favorite of anything. My opinions change so rapidly over time that it's just hard to narrow it down to something that I'm sure will stay that way for a long time, if not forever. Which is why it's very weird in this case for me to say that this next game is, without question, my favorite in the series. Released June 10th, 2016. Kirby Planet Robobot is downright an amazing game. Everything from the aesthetics, the music, the powers, just everything is quite possibly the best Kirby has ever been. Kirby's aesthetic seems to often be an exaggerated fantasy-styled world. But this game manages to keep that similar aesthetic while also mechanizing it, to give it just an entirely different feel. It's something that, admittedly, is fairly unique for the entire Kirby series. And I just love the creativity that comes with it. The music kind of gets its own similar treatment, becoming more on the techno side of things, but still having that usual Kirby flair. And I gotta be honest, the ability set in this game is top-notch. And it's not even just because the jet ability is there. I feel like I could go on and on about this game, but you know what? I gotta stop it somewhere. I adore this game, and I'm excited to play it again. Uh-oh. The next few All-Stars seem to have tied. Well, may as well start with another Superstar Tag Team. Released November 17th, 2003, but more importantly, re-released October 6th, 2017. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. By the time this game came out, I was already real into the idea of RPGs, but I sure as heck couldn't shy away from yet another Mario experience. This one taking the foundation that the Paper Mario series built on Mario RPG with, and just giving you a chance to dodge and counterattack directly anytime the enemy goes after you. It's a very interesting system, and one that, honestly, I love a lot. This game just oozes charm with its weird cast of wacky characters. It's one of those games you can't help but just smile at. In 2017, this game got remade for the 3DS. To be honest, I'm kind of hesitant to purchase remakes of games I already own unless it changes things very significantly, but for some reason, I was convinced to purchase this one anyway. Maybe it's because I thought the Bowser's Minions mode would be something I'd enjoy. That didn't pan out very good, but that's not what we're here to discuss. I feel like the remake hits most of the nails on the head, though. Some of the sprite work is a little bit more sterile, let's say. But I think overall the graphical improvements make up for it. This is a game I enjoy quite a bit, and I'm sure excited to give it another go. This next one is a bit of an unfortunate case, as this game never really got a chance to be complete. But as far as fan games go, it's sure one of my favorites. Released August 6th, 2016. AM2R, also known as another Metroid 2 remake. Truth be told, I was never the biggest fan of Metroid 2, for a lot of the same reasons I wasn't really a fan of the original Metroid. There was no real help as far as navigating around through a bunch of similar looking locations, and some of the game design choices were a little weird. I'm sure that they did the best with what they had at the time, but alongside Metroid 1, Metroid 2 was probably the most in dire need of a remake, and thank goodness it happened. Well, it did eventually, but before all that, here comes AM2R. AM2R takes the foundation that Metroid 2 laid out and modernizes it in such a nice way. This game, before Nintendo's official remake of the game, was what actually gave me more of an appreciation for Metroid 2. Navigation was a lot easier, and the overall package was a whole lot less clunky. The game basically plays a whole lot like Zero Mission does, and I enjoyed the heck out of Zero Mission, so this is pretty much a perfect fit. Metroid 2 may not be my favorite Metroid experience, but this remake really allows it to shine. Here's another LP I've wanted to redo for quite some time. It was the first game that had me fall in love with a very specific treasure hunter. Released June 1st, 2000. Wario Land 3! I'm still not entirely clear how it happened, but somehow this was my first Wario Land game, and I gotta say, what a way to start a series for me. While I didn't quite realize it at the time, Wario Land 3 takes the foundation from Wario Land 2 and kind of turns it into a weird Metroidvania collectathon kind of game, rather than being a straight-up exploration platformer. It still has those elements, of course, but I feel like the game has less of a point A to point B level structure, in that you just are supposed to explore around each individual level, using whatever moves, abilities, and items you have at your disposal to get to where you might think you can go. It's an interesting take on a platformer for sure, and while I feel like future games surpassed this in many ways, I'll always have a certain nostalgic attachment to this first one that I played. This is it. This next one's a big one. Really, you could also say, this one is legendary. Released November 23rd, 1998. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This game has a certain legacy throughout the many years since it came out. often taking the top spot in people's favorite games of all time. This game accelerated the Legend of Zelda series into 3D in such a fantastic way. It's pretty easy to see why people were just enthralled with it. That said, I've had a slightly different opinion of this game over the years. Don't get me wrong, I loved this game when it came out, but over time and as more Zelda games came out, I began to see more and more just how dated and in some ways flawed it is. As someone sitting on the sidelines while people tote this game as best game of all time, it just always felt a little weird to me. As time went on, I feel like I had less and less appreciation for this game because later Zeldas just kinda did it better. However, fast forward to 2018, when the Ocarina of Time randomizer became a thing that I tried. I don't know what it is about the randomizer, but for some reason it allowed me to see some more of the inner workings of this game, how it's structured, how it handles certain niche situations. Over time I started appreciating even minor things about the game that really I hadn't thought about before. Somehow, some way, I turned it around and I can now see the appeal of this game a whole lot more than I did before. Even now in the face of other Zelda games, this game has a fair amount of more subtle details that I guess I just never really appreciated until I had to look at them in a different perspective. I think a lot like when I did the LP for Link to the Past, I just want to see how this game plays out in its vanilla state. It was never an issue of I didn't enjoy the game, I think it was more I just didn't appreciate it as much as I could have. I just want to see how it holds up. On the flip side, there is, however, another Zelda game released not too long afterwards that I think is pretty great. Released October 26th, 2000. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Unlike Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask was always a game I really appreciated, which admittedly is a little weird considering functionally they're both very similar games. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Ocarina of Time is more of a standard Zelda adventure, whereas Majora's Mask does a lot of unique things that the rest of the series never touches upon. Or if they do, it's for very small portions of the game. The game world of Majora's Mask just feels more fleshed out. The game just offers a more unique experience compared to other Zelda games, focusing a lot more on side content, to the point where it's almost hard to consider it side content. Couple this with the more darker tone of the game, and you have a fairly unique Zelda experience on your hands. It's just one of those games that I find really hard to forget. If I might finally go back to our three-way tie in the All-Stars for a moment, I've got a certain Summer Vacation to talk about. Released August 26th, 2002.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Mario Sunshine is just a super nice Mario game. Taking the basis of Mario 64 and turning each individual mission into pretty much its own thing. It was kind of an interesting take on the formula. When you go into a level, you gotta choose which Shine episode you want to go to, and each one basically changes the layout of the level slightly. Everything about Delfino Island, as far as aesthetics and cohesion goes, is just really nice looking. The ability to see other locations from certain spots is just a real nice aesthetic, and it just helps make you feel like you're just exploring this island paradise on your search for shine sprites. To be honest, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a little bit janky in places, but you know what? I feel like that's part of its appeal. I'm always happy to go on yet another vacation. Moving on, you might remember me talking about 3 particular games I got for the PS2. I think it's only fair to talk about the other 2. Released December 3rd, 2001. Jak and Daxter is just a good fun time. On the surface, it's pretty much just your typical collect-a-thon, to be honest. But I feel like it has a handful of interesting little mechanics that make it stand out a little bit more. The seemingly seamless overworld is just one such feature that really stands out to me. Never in this game are you stuck on a loading screen or a mission select. It's always just go. Go wherever you want to go. On the rare occasion you do have to wait for something to load, you're still in total control, so it never really feels like it. Basically, it's just much more subtle about it. Seeing as the series kind of went places in the future, it's always nice to kick back and have some simple platforming fun. And finally, the last of the PS2 trio, quite possibly the one I had the greatest attachment to. Released November 4th, 2002. Ratchet & Clank was easily the king of the trio. Up to this point, I don't think I've really played an action platformer of this sort. This game just about had everything. A wonderful cast of characters, so many over-the-top weapons, and just the right amount of attitude. And this was only the beginning. I talked about the third game earlier, but the rest of the series is pretty fantastic as well. But, as I've said a few times, gotta start somewhere. And I feel like this game knocked it out of the park right from the word go. Finally, let's talk about that third game in a three-way Wait, is this another Mario game? The heck is this? Let's Mario it again? Well, you asked for it. Released April 9th, 2007. Super Paper Mario is an oddity of sorts. It's a weird mix of platforming and RPG mechanics. While I do like this game a lot, I do feel like at some points it kinda overstays its welcome a little bit, but I don't ever feel like it's too terrible. I have mixed feelings about this one, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy the varied settings and the story, but I do feel like the gameplay leaves a little bit to be desired. Either way, I enjoyed it enough to be willing to play it again, so I guess we'll see how that goes. Next up, how about a game from a genre that I didn't think I would enjoy, and yet I've played this game probably more than almost any other. Released July 21st, 2017. Wow, who would have guessed that Splatoon 2 would have been in LPIA? I sure wouldn't have. The shooter genre has never really been my favorite. The main reason for that is generally because I'm just not that great at it. But back when they first showed the initial footage of Splatoon 1, something clicked. While fundamentally this game is still a shooter, the gameplay feels very different from the traditional style. This is a game not about just aiming and shooting at your opponents, but there's a whole lot of movement involved. It's a very interesting dynamic that I just had to try out. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a big reason why I like Splatoon so much is the gameplay just feels Ratchet and Clank-like in a way. And oh man, that aesthetic? That's certainly one I could call fresh. Splatoon 2 just took a lot of the mechanics from the first game and just expanded upon it. And to be honest, I couldn't have asked for anything more. Naturally, I'm real excited to play through this game again. Is that a fax machine? What's that doing here? Whoa, wait, does that mean what I think it does? That's right, it's an LPIA mock Splatfest. Well, don't keep me waiting, fax machine. What's the theme? It's the endless beeping menace, Mr. Watch, versus the meteor-devouring serpent, Jerry. Which of these two characters do you like more? I'll have more info to share about this, like dates and such, in the near future. In particular, if you're interested, you may want to consider joining my Discord server, as a lot of things will be happening there. Well, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Next up, How about the flip side of my new venture into space? Released November 18th, 2002. Metroid Fusion is the other half of my introduction to the Metroid series, allowing me to experience the more side-scrolling part of the Metroid franchise. Metroid Fusion was just a real interesting game to me. It had a little bit more of a story focus compared to other Metroid games, and to be honest, I've seen complaints about this in the past, but I never really was bothered by it. I'd say the only real problem with this approach is that it kind of limits your availability on backtracking to collect items. But beyond that, I just never really had a problem with this approach. Now of note, longtime viewers might be aware of something I've done known as Metroid Prime with a twist. This may have been something I've brought up in the past, but truth be told, this twist came not from Metroid Prime, but actually from this game. And oh baby, let me tell you, I have regrets. While I did eventually succeed in beating the game without any extra energy tanks, it was quite the trial to get there. This game is very clearly designed for you to have a lot of health, and enemies just kinda hit like a truck. Some endgame enemies taking you out in 2, maybe even 1 hit. In general, this game just doesn't really kid around. I suppose you could say I kinda like that in a way. Next up, how about something that, let's be honest, I'll never finish. Released? Never, I guess? Super Mario Gemini? The heck is that? Did you guys know I was making a ROM hack? Well, I guess you do now. I suppose you could argue I'm technically double dipping on the Super Mario World gameplay with this, but I feel like this is worth talking about. After doing a little bit of research, I probably started working on this ROM hack around maybe 2006 or 7? I don't really know the exact date. Point is, it's been well over a decade. And yet it's not done. You might be wondering why. Truth be told, the base levels are done. You can complete the game. I just never really got around to polishing things up and making it more presentable, balancing the difficulty and the like. Not to mention there's a few levels that really just outright should be replaced, because they're just bad ideas, I guess. I spent so much time making this thing, it almost feels like a crime that I haven't even touched on it for more than a few minutes. Super Mario World ROM hacking always felt like a dream come true to me anyway. Before the days of other sorts of level editors, I spent quite a long time actually drawing out platforming levels on pieces of paper. A lot of these never really got used for anything, if only because they really weren't balanced in the slightest. But it was a little hobby of mine that, you know, I had a good time doing. Naturally, as soon as I was able to make my own stuff, I was instantly hooked. A lot of it started out fairly primitive, but then I wanted to make something a little bit more concrete. And I guess that's how this ROM hack came to be in the first place. Realistically, I don't think I'm ever gonna find time to actually complete this game the way it should be. A big part of that is because it's a bit of a broken mess in places, and I don't know if it's something that can be fixed. But regardless, I think it's something worth sharing. Oh man, there's another tie in the All-Stars winners. Just a two-way tie this time, though. But this first one is a bit of a superstar. Released September 20th, 1996. But more importantly, re-released September 22nd, 2008. Kirby Superstar Ultra is a video game that's actually multiple video games. I mean, kinda. I have many fond memories of the original release of this game, playing it with friends for several hours into the night. And yet despite that, we still managed to play it all in one sitting. I had mentioned before that Kirby 2 was probably my introduction to the series. This game took the basis of Kirby's Dream Land 2 and Kirby's Adventure and just ran with it, giving each and every ability a pretty expansive moveset for the most part. You know, rather than just one move. Hope you like it! On top of that, you've got shifting gameplay styles and multiple different sub-modes. This game just has it all, man. And the remake pulls no punches either, adding even further to the amount of game modes you can play once you've completed the original batch. And I'm not gonna lie, honestly, this was Kirby at his best for a long time. This game more or less overshadowed a ton of future releases for me. It was just that good. That said, speaking of overshadowed games, released November 27th, 1997, Kirby's Dream Land 3 is a game I adore. It may not have been as bombastic and loud as Kirby Superstar was, but it certainly went out of its way to have its own charm. It went back to the base formula of Kirby's Dream Land 2 and just kind of ran more with that, instead of becoming more modernized, let's say. It's got this crayon-drawn aesthetic that's just really appealing to look at. It's just kind of a shame this game had to compete with its predecessor in order to be noticed. Because in a lot of people's eyes, there's almost no way you could top it. At least not when it regresses back to the ways of Kirby's Dream Land 2. But what this game has, I feel, is charming in its own way. The small selection of powers can be enhanced by up to 6 animal friends, and it makes for just enough variety to be interesting. I feel like this game deserves another chance to come out of the shadows and shine. This next game comes with a very important warning. Failure to comply may result in the unthinkable. Under no circumstances should you ever tell Dragon. Released September 15th, 2015. Well, guess I spilled the beans on accident. Oops! It's Undertale! Undertale is a game that admittedly I didn't really think much of initially. Upon its release, a lot of people were talking about it, but what little I had seen prior to playing it didn't really inspire me to play it. And once I did get around to playing it, it took until about halfway through the game for me to really start to see the appeal. That said, this game's appeal seems to pretty much fall entirely within its cast of characters. And boy, are they a treat. Next up, let's talk about 2 games that are always linked as far as I'm concerned. Released May 14th, 2001. Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons, and Oracle of Ages. I don't know how they managed to release 2 completely different Zelda games on the same day, but they sure did it. Oracle of Seasons being the more action-oriented of the 2, and Oracle of Ages being the more puzzling of the 2, making for unique experiences from both. Meanwhile, at the core, they're both basically the same gameplay, based on the same engine as Link's Awakening. It's kind of weird, honestly, because I never really cared too much for Link's Awakening if you ignore the screen warp glitch, of course. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game. I do enjoy it quite a bit. But it just feels really small. This is just made a whole lot more apparent when you compare it to the Oracle games. Oracle of Seasons has a sprawling map that changes into 4 different ways depending on the season. It even has a small little sub-area. Whereas Oracle of Ages splits its map in 2 with 2 separate time periods. There's just a whole lot of game here for both of these. Not to mention some of the most unique items in the entire Zelda series. There's just a lot to love about both of these games. I, for one, am excited to give them another go. And now for the other tied All-Star. It's a fantastic return for this franchise in a genre I've already talked about quite a bit. It's time for yet another globe-trotting adventure. Released October 27th, 2017. Super Mario Odyssey. This game is just a magical journey if I've ever heard of one. It's a much more direct return to the collectathon roots that Mario 64 had going on, but this time on a much grander scale. On top of that, the concept of capturing enemies and taking control of them for a while is just such a fun idea. By this point in the Mario series, there's such a large cast of enemy characters you can pull from. Not to mention, Mario himself has probably some of the best movement options in the series. This game is just bursting at the seams with fun ideas and interesting locations. Tons of secrets, and all the exploration you could ask for in a platformer of this size. It's just one of those games that I still can't get over the fact that it even exists. And I'm sure excited to give it yet another go. Well, time to be masochistic. Let's bring it back again. Released September 9th, 2010. The Let's Challenge Game Guy series. Y'all thought it was dead. Y'all thought it was never coming back. Well, it might. I don't know what the future holds. But here it is again, back from the dead. Let's Challenge Game Guy was a series of videos I started back in late 2010. I would take challenges from viewers and record a little miniature LP of sorts doing said challenge. It was a neat idea and I had a fair amount of fun doing it most of the time, but as time went on, I found myself with less and less time to focus on it, considering I wanted my main focus to be on pretty much everything else I was doing. It always just kept getting pushed to the wayside. It's also worth mentioning, at least early on, I was probably a little bit too picky about which challenges I did or didn't do. I had far too many rules going on. And I think in the end, this kind of just sucked a lot of the interest I had out of it because it was always a task of trying to find only the best challenges and those that I could actually perform in a reasonable amount of time. I later revived the series as a sort of Season 2, and that sort of went well. It kind of fell off again due to some unfortunate circumstances surrounding my ability to record near the end of it. And really, the only reason it hasn't come back until now is just because I haven't really had the time to focus on it. But I think the time is right now. This is another thing where I'll probably have more information to share at a later date. So in particular, keep an eye on my Twitter or Discord server for what might be happening with that. Now here's a series I somehow haven't talked about much yet. In particular, I'm going to look at two games. Released December 4th, 2011. The second one released May 30th, 2014. But re-released on April 28th, 2017. Mario Kart 7. Also Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart is a series I have adored from day one. I have a number of memories playing Super Mario Kart, and probably many more playing Mario Kart 64. That battle mode sure was something else. But especially as time went on, Mario Kart just kind of fell out of favor for me a little bit. I've mentioned before that my immediate family didn't really care much for video games in general, so it was just something I couldn't do the multiplayer half at all, really. Mario Kart was something that I would play with friends too, but it was pretty much only those first two games, and in particular Mario Kart 64. As the series went on, I was able to play multiplayer less and less. Playing single player in Mario Kart was never really the most interesting thing to me. It was kind of something I only really tolerated as a means to unlock stuff for multiplayer. But when I didn't really have a chance to do much in the way of multiplayer, it just kinda wasn't my thing for very long. Eventually, Mario Kart joined the world of online gaming with Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart Wii. But yet, I don't really have a lot of memories with those either. I could play online with some friends I had at the time, but we never really had that great of a connection. This was days before the likes of Skype and Discord. And playing online with friends without actually being able to speak with them directly just feels a little hollow. So it goes without saying, as soon as Mario Kart 7 came out and I was already in on this whole Skype thing, my love and interest in the series came back full force. Mario Kart just feels like a mixture of the right amount of skill and pure chaos. No matter how good you are at the game, you still have to be on your guard, and no matter how bad you are at the game, you still have a shot of winning. Some people may not like this aspect, but you know what? I feel like it kind of adds to the game's appeal. Each match has a capability of being its own unique experience, because you just never know what's gonna happen. And I feel like that's what makes it exciting. Sometimes you win by a landslide, and the next game you get the landslide on top of you. It can be frustrating at times, maybe, but it's just a video game. It's something I can just look back at and laugh about later. And these are the kind of experiences that I always look forward to when playing this game again. Well, this is it. 5 more games to go. Starting it off, let's talk about this animated antihero. Released September 22nd, 2008, and taking 3rd place in the Let's Play It Again All-Stars. Wario Land Shake It. In many ways, to me, this is the king of all Wario games. Animation style just makes it look like you're straight up playing a cartoon, and the gameplay is just about perfect, borrowing a lot of things from Wario Land 4. Admittedly, Wario Land 4 always felt like a weird game to me. Not a bad game per se, but it always felt like something was missing from it. And even to this day, I can't exactly pinpoint what it is, but I feel like Wario Land Shake It just about nails it. It's possible that maybe it's just the scope of the game that's different. Wario Land 4 always felt a little bit on the small side, and Wario Land Shake It certainly beefs up the roster of levels. Not to mention the addition of missions to each level. There's just a lot to do in this game. I, for one, certainly can't wait to give this game another shake. Next up, let's talk about a game that, let's be honest, I was pretty obsessed with for almost a year. Released June 2nd, 2016, and taking 2nd place in the Let's Play It Again All-Stars. Link to the Past Randomizer. I sort of talked about this when I discussed the original Link to the Past, but I never really had a super good appreciation for this game for most of its life. To me, it always felt fairly simple, and especially with the advancing of the Zelda series in other ways in the future, it just never really got out of that shadow. And then the randomizer comes along. Probably even more so than Ocarina of Time, the randomizer suits this game almost perfectly. One of the biggest problems I always had with the original Link to the Past is there's just a lot of items in this game that get pretty underutilized, because by the time you get them, they're instantly outclassed by other stuff right away. Why does this game need 2 invincibility items? Why does this game need a boomerang when the bow is so good? And then the hookshot comes along and becomes the best weapon in the game. Who even uses these screen nukes? I could go on, but I think you get the point. The randomizer shakes things up by causing these items to have some form of relevancy on occasion. Don't have the hookshot? You might have to rely on the boomerang or the ice rod in order to do a projectile attack. Don't have the sword? Guess you better pull out that magic hammer if you want to hit things. Even highly situational items like the Cane of Samaria get a chance to shine in this game. Couple this with the fact that each route you take through individual seeds is going to be different every single time. It's never really the same game twice. You just never know what sorts of situations are gonna show up. And I'm certainly looking forward to some more random shenanigans. One last LP for the road. If there's one LP that I struck the most amount of success with, it's probably this one. Released August 30th, 2004. Pikmin 2. If you've been around on my channel for a very long time, chances are real good this is the first LP of mine that you saw, due to some shenanigans with the YouTube algorithm. But that's a story for another day. But chances are, you already know that story. Now, I suppose I have a little bit of a confession to make with this one. Before the LP, Pikmin as a series was never really one of my favorites. Certainly not bad games. Admittedly, I didn't really find it as entertaining as some of the other games I had played up to this point. So then, why LP it? The Pikmin series was kind of a weird pick for me to begin with, I will fully admit. But it's kind of interesting how over time, playing these games again and again for LPs and LPIA and such, I've started to have much more of an appreciation for the series in general. I'll fully admit, a big part of why I picked it in the first place is because there really weren't a whole lot of people playing Pikmin games back in the day. So it was in some ways kind of an attempt to stand out. And, well, I guess we see how that played out. And finally, the game everyone has been waiting for. The game everyone expected to be here. I don't even have to say anything else, you already know what it is. Released October 11th, 2004, and taking first place in the Let's Play It Again All-Stars. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I've said so many things about this game over the years, and will probably continue to keep saying such things. I'm pretty sure most people know my feelings on this game by this point. So for this segment, I wanted to talk about something a little different. This song. I've been asked on occasion, Game Guy, why do you use this particular song as a sort of theme song for LPIA? Truth be told, it's a song I used in the first announcement video of the original Let's Play It Again, back at the end of 2010. Really, I just wanted something triumphant. But I feel like there's something a little more to it than that. Think for a moment about where this song plays. After a dire moment when things are looking their bleakest, you are then shown various scenes from places you've been in the past, and receive words of encouragement from the people you know there. Maybe this is a loose interpretation, and a little bit cheesy, but I've always sort of interpreted this song as a way to remember the good times in the past. This song invokes nostalgia, and provides encouragement for more good times in the future. And then you fight a demon or whatever. But that is also a story we'll be seeing again. And that's a wrap. Or at least it would be. If you've been counting, I still have one more game of my choice left to go. My greatest challenge of all. Released September 23rd, 2002, or more accurately, discovered during the summer of 2004. Yoshi's Island: The Low Score Challenge. Yoshi's Island on its own is a fantastic game, and that can't be understated. But what happens when the game gets re-released on a portable system, and you discover a forum thread on GameFAQs one summer detailing a completely different way to play the game? I was about to find out. For those that don't know, the Low Score Challenge involves simply avoiding all score, if at all possible. No more flowers, no more red coins, and you gotta drop that star count to 0 before you hit the goal ring. I spent probably several weeks in this forum thread talking with other people who came up with the idea and coming up with a few strategies of my own. And actually, an FAQ for this challenge was made as well. It's a fair bit outdated, but it's still there. Kind of a shame because we eventually all sort of moved on, but it wasn't until the year 2010 when I thought to come back and give this another go for the internet, and I'm pretty sure you know the story from there. The low score challenge has always been a really unique twist on this game. It's such a simple concept, but it changes so much. Couple that with a game that's already fantastic in its own way, and you've got a recipe for something great. And that's it, I guess. I've talked about a whole lot of games from my past today, so let's have a real quick recap. The Let's Play It Again XL stream lineup is as follows. Taking 10th place, the Jackbox Party Pack. It's gonna be multiple games, should be a fun time. Taking 9th place, Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal. Game of my choice, Paper Mario Sticker Star. Followed by another game of my choice, Kirby Planet Robobot. First game tying for 6th place is Mario & Luigi's Superstar Saga, the 3DS version specifically. Another game of my choice, another Metroid 2 remake, followed by another game of my choice, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The second All-Star tied for 6th place, Super Mario Sunshine. Then another game of my choice, Jak and Daxter. The last All-Star tied for 6th place, Super Paper Mario. Another game of my choice, Splatoon 2, along with a Splatfest I'll be hosting as well. Yet another game of my choice, my ROM hack, Super Mario Gemini. Another All-Star tied for 4th place, Kirby Superstar Ultra. Another game of my choice, Undertale. The other All-Star tied for 4th place, Super Mario Odyssey. And another game of my choice, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The 3rd place All-Star, Wario Land Shake It. Then the 2nd place All-Star, Link to the Past Randomizer. Finally, the 1st place All-Star, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. And to top everything off, the last game of my choice, Yoshi's Island The Low Score Challenge. Alongside these streams are 10 LPs that I'll be doing, maybe not in this order, but we'll see. First up, Super Mario World. Then I'm doing Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, as a group. Also, Wario Land 3, Majora's Mask, Ratchet & Clank, Metroid Fusion, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, and Oracle of Ages. We're bringing back Let's Challenge Game Guy. And finally, another LP of Pikmin 2. It's a lot of games, and I've certainly got my work cut out for me. But with all of that said, I guess I'll see you tomorrow for Let's Play It Again XL. Wow. Did you see all those video games? Did you hear me say things twice? I sure did. I sound different because I'm live now instead of past. Hyperclap. Something I actually didn't get to say in the video proper. I wanted to, I just ran out of time and I couldn't add it in. So, a few things actually. I do want to do a few other from the top style videos for some honorable mentions. I don't know when that will happen. Hello, how are you today? Okay, so those bonus questions. The one for, favorite character in Game Guy lore is what decided the teams for that Splatfest, by the way. In case you wanted to know. The other bonus questions are actually a pretty good segue into the other thing I was going to talk about. Speaking of honorable mentions, I want to do a few intermissions, let's say, here and there, of other games that aren't in the main lineup. But not, like, full playthroughs. So, you might see some things that weren't there, that you're questioning that weren't there. Let's just say. Also, I'm not sure how Pit of 100 Trials is an elephant. I'm pretty sure that is inaccurate. Chat, please. I was trying to scroll up a little bit and then it didn't want to go down. Chat, what are you doing? Pit of 100 Elephants. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, doing the remind stuff is gonna be a pretty early intermission, so... Man, bunch of bots today. What's that about? Why'd they show up, like, now, both of them at the end? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why don't I have, like, music? What is happening? I should probably fix that. Music, return to me. I need you in my time of need. It didn't shuffle, so... I don't know. I mean, the bots can be excited for LPIA, I guess. Also, I suppose I can turn the news ticker back on. Actually, do I even have the thing? I don't know. Interim stream? Is that how you say that word? Like, I know what that means, but... I don't know. The approximate length this LPIA will take? I mean, there's 20 games. Some of them are pretty long. I'm planning to do various intermissions of other games in between. It's gonna be a thing. Let's play it again forever. You guys prophesized it, and, well, here you go. No, I mean, I'm hoping LPIA doesn't go past, like, summer, but we'll see. It is worth mentioning, actually. The only LP I know the order of that is coming out... I'm trying to words here, and it's hard. The only LP I know that... What am I trying to say here? Okay, the only LP with an actual release date I can confirm is Super Mario World. It's coming out tomorrow. Beyond that, I don't know. So, you know. Intermissions will pretty much exclusively be games I have played in the past, so it won't be games I haven't played. Well, Dark Cloud 2 is gonna, like, we're gonna go back to that whole alternating games thing. So Dark Cloud 2 is gonna just be the alternate for now. I'll have to work on Shroom version eventually. Like, I've been stuck trying to make that stupid video for, like, the past several weeks, and I have not had a chance to work on basically anything else. So I don't know when Ages and Seasons will be, but it might be one of the early ones. I guess since I can talk about these now. Ages and Seasons isn't done. I have, like, the main game done for both of them, but I don't have any of the linked content done, really. So that's going to be kind of a thing I have to go through. I'm trying to think, what LPs do I have that are, the Sticking Point? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'll work on that. I feel like I can't finish the seed from the preview video because I'm not gonna lie, I know that's gonna be awful. For what it's worth, I didn't show a clip of it. I also found the Moon Pearl. I think that was in Sarbawarble's house, so I'm not gonna lie, I actually was thinking, because I'm probably gonna do multiple seeds again. I was actually thinking of making, like, a Discord channel where people can collaborate to make a Plando for me. Rather than do it the way I did it last time, where it was kind of weird. Multi-world can probably happen. We'll see who's around whenever. Honestly, the intermissions are probably going to more be used for buying time, let's say. In addition to just being other stuff. I'm not gonna announce who's in the Mario RPG LP quite yet. You might be able to figure out some of them on your own, but I'm gonna save that announcement for later. Mostly because one of the issues I actually have right now is, like, one of the people dropped out. So I have to find a replacement, basically. Let's see. Where am I in these LPs? So, Majora's Mask, I'm like... I got up to finishing Great Bay Temple, I believe. It's been a bit since I've recorded, like, any of these. So, there's going to be, like, an awkward time gap in recordings. So that's going to be fun. Gosh, when did I record most of the oracles? Because I know that was the first thing I recorded before from the top. Because a lot of these games were originally planned to be for From the Top, and it just never happened. Oh yeah, I guess I can turn alerts back on. Well, I mean, they're broken because I broke them. Well, again, I'm not going to talk about Mario RPG quite yet, because that one's still kind of a work in progress. You heard a train. Yeah, there's trains. Also, I'm realizing now that the music thing isn't updating because WatchBot is dead. Wario Land 3, if I remember right, is completely recorded. Like, I did all of that already. So that's cool. Splatoon 2, like, the main part is just gonna be the single-player stuff. So, you know, that main campaign and Octo expansion. Music. Oh, the music's not even playing because, okay, I'm the only one that can even hear it. Whoopsie doodle. Well, you know what? Whatever. It's fine. Yeah, I gotta figure out exactly how to do rules and such for this Splatfest, because like I have ideas, I just have to write them down basically. I am thinking I'm gonna have like Discord roles and such, a few specific channels. Something I want to do actually is maybe have, like, you can set up matches before the actual Splatfest that will count towards it. So, like, if you can group up enough people on opposite teams, you can start gaining points beforehand. I was also thinking of maybe including Salmon Run in that. I haven't quite decided yet. I don't know when I'm going to upload the highlights. Soon, probably, because I will have time to actually do stuff again. Salmon Run would basically award your team clout for how many eggs you turned in or whatever. Like, I'd probably would have a thing where people would have to send me, like a Switch video or a highlight, or not a highlight, like a screenshot maybe. It would have to be some way to confirm the people that are playing and also, like, you know, the result, I guess. I'd have to figure that out. Because I realize I don't know what the date is going to be for the actual Splatfest until we get a lot closer to it, so it's going to be hard for people to plan for that, probably. The only thing I can say is ideally I'm going to probably want to have it be 2 days, being Friday and Saturday. Because I'm going to keep my stream schedule mostly the same as usual. Some intermissions might be on off days, but that really depends on my availability. Is Dashel at the bottom of the flip side pit? I think that's where he is. Because I don't have a huge problem doing the flip side pit. It's more the flop side pit that I don't know. Like, remember how the part in that preview video where I'm like, some of the game overstays its welcome, right? Yeah, that's kind of the flop side pit. Much as I like the Sammer guy dialogue, I feel like that kind of falls into it too. What were the LPs again? I've already forgotten because I keep getting sidetracked by other discussions. Oh yeah, I started Pikmin 2. That was like the more recent one I started, actually. I don't remember where I stopped, though. I don't know. Well, I will say the ones I haven't started. I haven't started Ratchet and Clank, I haven't started Fusion, Dreamland 3, and I haven't started the Let's Challenge stuff. Everything else I've at least started. Oh yeah, I can look at votes. That's a thing I could do. Where the heck is that, that thing? How do I get to Google something or other? I don't understand. That was a form. Yes. Yes. I'm no longer accepting responses. That's cool. I mean, Flavio's always there. There's no question. Even if you can't see him, he's there somewhere. Just, you know. Okay, so I believe if I remember right, every single game in the top 10 had over 20 votes. And I believe the average vote per bracket was like 55-ish. It seems about right. Let's see. Yeah, Thousand Year Door got 27 votes. Actually, I didn't really win by that much of a landslide because Shake It got 24. But Shake It was third. Yeah, the top 3 was pretty close. Yeah, Randomizer got 25. I could add a donation thing, but like I don't know. I did set up a Patreon at one point cuz there was some talk about it changing its policy or whatever, so I wanted to do that in the event I would ever want one. But then it's just like I don't know how many people would actually want me to have a Patreon. Because I don't want to just put it there for no reason. Especially when I basically have, like... I have a bad track record of making promises. Let's put it that way. So it's like, I basically would be putting it up there, and I'd be like, give me money, I can't offer you anything. I mean, technically speaking, the Patreon's set up. I just kind of need to activate it. I think, actually, I can set up a thing on Streamlabs so it would do an alert if somebody became a Patreon while I was streaming. Although that'd be weird because that would include people that aren't even at the stream, I think. I don't know. I mean, at most, Patreons would get access to that VIP channel. So there's that. You know, I should probably, like, I uploaded this video I just showed to YouTube, and I should probably make it, like, public, but I never actually gave it a title or anything, so I'm gonna probably want to do that at some point. Where's the... Okay, so yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the votes. Jackbox got 20 votes exactly. LPIA Direct. Yeah, buddy. But yeah, there's a lot of games I'm kind of surprised just didn't make it or didn't get enough votes, actually. Because there's a few of them that got close. Like, this is honestly, for a top 10, everything was really close, I feel. There's like a lot of the big names were, like, up there. Yeah, I'm trying to find Mother 3, actually, because this thing's weird. Yeah, Mother 3 actually only got 15. I should also clarify 10th place. Because technically speaking, 10th place was a tie. Jackbox broke the tie because A, I thought that would be far more fitting and hilarious. And B, I had, I used the other bonus questions as a tiebreaker of sorts. And there's a few people that talked about Jackbox stuff, so that kind of won out. It's okay, though, because the other game that was in the tie is very short and probably fits for an intermission. It's Untitled Goose Game. Remember when I said one of the 2019 games actually was really close? That was it. Unrelated, Kingdom Hearts 3 got 13 votes. Hilarious. There's a few of them in here I'm a little surprised got pretty low, actually. Breath of the Wild only got 11. Like, what's that about? Poor Smash Bros. Melee and Smash Bros. 3DS got only 1 vote. Nothing got no votes, actually, but I suspect somebody may have voted for everything, which would have given everything at least 1 vote. Probably. I don't know for sure if that's something that happened, but that's kind of my theory. Epic Yarn? Epic Yarn got 14. Somehow. Now, when you say Wind Waker, there's 2 of them, technically, because I separated the original game and the randomizer. The original got 15. When the heck did I do the randomizer? Oh, the randomizer got 17. The highest voted Pokemon game. Ugh. Pokemon Yellow only got 5, so it's probably not that. Ultra Moon got 10. Pokemon Sun got 5, Omega Ruby got 6, Y got 5. Pokemon Puzzle League got 4. Oh, small aside, Dark Cloud 2 only got 11. Phew. I think Mother 3 was 15? I don't remember anymore. Heart Gold got 7, Platinum got 12. Black 2 got 16. Black 1 got 11. Yeah, Untitled Goose Game tied with 10th place. That's 20 votes. So, yeah. Emerald got 7. Crystal got 9, and Fire Red got 6. Okay. So it was Black 2. Let's see, what games got real close? Pikmin 2 had 19 votes, so that's fun. The Oracle games had 18 votes. Jerry Solo. Aw, yeah. Kirby's Return to Dreamland got 18. Terraria got 19. That's upsetting. Katamari Damacy got 19 also, but I think there's something I can do with an intermission on that one, so it's one of those things. Yeah, I'm not really gonna like super talk about intermission stuff yet, because a lot of it is mostly unplanned, so you know. Tools of Destruction is at 17. People really wanted Galaxy 2. It only got 16, but that's still pretty up there. Like, I just did that game. To be fair, the voting started, I think, before I even announced that one, so who knows. Kingdom Hearts 2 got 17. That's not nearly as hilarious. Man, Undertale only got 15? Wow. Robobot also only got 15? Wow. Man, other than the games that won, people didn't really like the 2017 bracket. Like, everything, like, other than Link to the Past Randomizer and Mario Odyssey, everything is 14 votes and below. Like, compared to other brackets, that's actually a pretty low average. Octopath Traveler only got 16. Man, Super Mario Maker Super Mario Maker 2 got 15. I don't think the original Super Mario Maker did that good because I didn't even see it. When the heck did I actually, like, what bracket is that in? I forgot. Board Game Online. Listen, you keep talking about games that are, like, hiding from me. Mostly because I don't remember what bracket they're in. Board Game Online got 13? The heck are you people doing? No, I mean, Board Game Online, I've said many times, is fun, but it's not really a good stream game. Also, ZZT got 5 votes. Aw, yeah. Chrono Trigger DS got 3. Nice. Golden Sun, yeah. Like, it's unfortunate, because there's a few series I wanted to touch on that I just never got a chance to, and they didn't show up in LPIA's lineup, so... Like, Golden Sun's kind of another one of those. To be fair, Golden Sun is probably a game I would put as a, honorable mention from the top style video eventually. Like, I don't want to spoil all of those, but, you know. Yeah, Golden Sun got 12. What year did they start Lost Age? Oh, that only got 6. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know if people want, like, more vote talking right now, because, you know, I could, but... I should probably also do other things than sitting here talking about stuff on a quiet screen. I know I'm in the just talking category, but sometimes I like to play video games. I don't know about releasing the doc, if only because, A, I'm not entirely clear how. B, a lot of the, from the bonus questions, a lot of the favorite LP and stream and such things are just going to be used as intermission fodder ideas, so, you know, just putting that out there. Video games are great. I love them. I'm not even really sure what I would do with Deadlocked. Because, like, it wouldn't be the whole game, so... I'm not sure what, like... I don't remember that LP, basically. Like, I don't remember it well enough. I don't know if anything broke, but also I basically haven't done anything to what you sent me with the code, so we'll see how that goes.